2024 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend 4x4, $29,743. A 2024 T250 low roof cargo van, $51,955. 24 model Ford F-150 4x4 crew cab, $46,929. Ray Varner Ford, your East Tennessee Ford dealership.
All right, Jimmy, so Tennessee forcing a Game 3 rubber match here in the National Championship Series. They break through in the 7th inning with Dylan Dreiling, and then Cal Stark matches it in the next frame for a 4-1 win. And we're here to the last game of the college baseball season. Up for grabs is the National Championship, and Zander Sechrist getting the start today. I know last time we talked, you mentioned a lot about his composure and confidence that he has on the mound, and hopefully he continues this month-long stretch of phenomenal starts, going at least 6 innings. But with him getting the start today, what are you looking for from him to tell you that it was another successful start and outing for Zander Sechrist?
I think if he can get 5 innings in and limit A&M to 2 runs, I think that's a very successful start for him. And one of the keys, I think, and he's been able to deliver this, you don't want to give up a lot of runs early against A&M or against anybody really, but in particular in this situation, because then that starts to put a little bit more pressure on you at bat. I remember Tony Vitello during an in-game interview in Game 1, he said that the meter had run into the red with his players, and I took that to mean that there was some frustration. They struck out 17 times, okay? So they were behind, and I think frustration set in. Now, that could have actually applied to the game last night, even though it was only 1-0, because Tennessee was still having trouble getting quality at bats. They were striking out a lot, and then Dylan Dreiling delivers that hit. So the key there is just keep them in the game, which Tennessee's pitchers did in Game 2. Now Zander Sechrist needs to just keep him in the game, another solid outing. Paige has been Tennessee's best pitcher for the last month. 5 starts, 4-0 record, 1.23 earned run average against quality competition in clutch situations. So I really expect to see another solid outing from him.
Yeah, for Texas A&M, 2 of their best 3 hitters are still in the lineup, and the leadoff and the second guy have caused quite some damage for Tennessee in the first 2 games, getting that first inning home run in the first 2 games of the series. You mentioned Zander Sechrist with an earned run average of 1.1. How does he manage if it does happen again where Texas A&M is able to jump on them early?
Tennessee needs to be patient like it was last night. Even though they're behind a little bit, don't have that meter run into the red with frustration. Hang in there. You know you're good enough. You know you're able to do this. You had a great comeback win, even though you're only down 1-0 against A&M, and you're getting late in the game. And I'm on a text thread, I don't know why I do this, with about 28 people, and I kept getting message after message about, oh, no, they're going down. We got to get a hit. And then a couple of days before that against Florida State, when they were down by 3 runs in the 9th inning, and they came back. So they know they're capable of making the comeback, even if it's late in the game and even when the angst meter's way up there. But that's the thing. Just stay patient, stay confident, don't get frustrated, hang in there, take good swings, and then hopefully, like it did for Dylan Dreiling and Cal Stark, you come through when it matters.
And I think that last part of what you're saying about their mindset and mentality might be the biggest difference in this team compared to 2022. Because even talking to Zander post-game yesterday and talking about him getting the start today, he's like, it's just another game, but has, a title on the line, but you have to play it like it's another game. Aaron Combs kind of with that same mindset. What do you think about this team has allowed them to mature in that aspect where in 2022, the pressure or whatever was on the line definitely infiltrated the team? This year, it seems like that doesn't happen at all, ever.
Litton's in Fountain City, proud supporters of Tennessee athletics. When you're hungry, remember Litton's for the best burgers and the best desserts in town.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Paige. I think that this is a confident team, right? But they're not as brash and not as boastful as the 2022 team. You're not going to see some of the bat flips and some of the other gestures that you saw out of that team then. But they believe that they can win. And I also think the fact that they were in the College World Series last year. Now, some of them were actually there a couple of years ago as well. But a lot of these guys played in the College World Series a year ago. They understand the experience of it. They understand don't make this moment bigger than it is. It's a big moment, but don't let it engulf you. Don't let the pressure take over. And I think they have enough experienced players that don't allow that. And even though in Game 2, you had 2 of their really good hitters, Moore and Tears go 0 for 10, Moore came back and opened the game with a single. you've got to forget those kind of things and go forward. And I think that Tennessee is mature enough and they're talented enough to do it. And they don't have to have just one or two guys in the lineup to come through. They have a lot of players that are capable of hitting home runs or hitting a key single or a key double. And just remember that your teammates got your back.
And it feels like not mentioning Dylan Dreiling off the top. It feels like we're bearing the lead by not talking about him first, because he continues to show up in the biggest moments for Tennessee. You look at his, walk-off swing and hit against FSU, propels them to, the championship series. And then he breaks the game open with his 2-run home run. And Zander Sechrist after the game talked about how it's really rewarding to see him get a hit like that off a left-handed pitcher. He worked a lot on that in the fall. Zander Sechrist even saying, he got a couple hits on him in practice. And when the scouts asked Sechrist, like, who do they need to look out for? He said Dylan Dreiling. And it's just really rewarding, he says, to see Dreiling have this moment. Why do you think Dylan Dreiling's able to show up in the biggest moments for Tennessee the way he has?
I think his composure. I think his calmness. He's got a great swing. I loved his swing a year ago when I watched him. I thought this guy's got a chance to be a terrific college hitter. And I think that's part of it. But the other part of it is just not letting the moment get to you and understanding, hey, just be patient. You hear athletes or coaches all the time talk about let the game come to you. Don't get overexcited. Don't get over frustrated. And I think that that's what Dreiling has done. He looks to be very composed. Now, he got excited when he hit the home run.
How could you not?
Yeah, exactly. How do you blame him for that? But that was a key moment. That was a big hit. And also remember this, and I know that you do, that when he got that key hit against Florida State to win that game, what did Christian Moore say? There's nobody I'd rather have at the plate than Dylan Dreiling. And so the teammates believe in him. He believes in himself. Coaches believe in him. And I think that's one of the things that's allowed him to prosper. And this is, look, he's hitting in the 4 spot. He's a cleanup hitter for a team that has set all kind of home run records. That tells you how much they trust in him.
And then you look at Cal Stark in the next frame for back-to-back innings with a 2-run shot. One goes to the right field, one goes to the left field. What do you think it is about Cal Stark that also gives this team so much energy, regardless if he's behind the dish as the catcher or in the batter's box trying to knock one back?
He's a great defensive catcher. He's got complete command. The pitchers trust in him. The coaching staff trusts in him. I even heard Tony Vitello say that in spite of the low batting average that Stark has, major league teams need to take a look at him because of his defense. And he is a terrific defensive catcher. Now, that 2-run home run was his first hit in the College World Series.
0 of 16 until that hit, yes.
Yes, and how big was that? And also his ability, those pickoff throws to first base. I mean, and he's picked off a couple. He's almost picked off a couple more. I mean, he's got a rocket arm throwing it down there, and that keeps the base runners sometimes honest. When they get dishonest, they're out. So I thought that was a huge play for them. And defensively, Tennessee's been spotty now. They've had a few errors along the way. They've also had some great defensive plays. Stark turning that one in. There were 2 great catches in the outfield yesterday in spite of the loss, even though there were 2 infield errors. So, but I do think with Stark, his defense, his maturity, his leadership, all of that plays into it. And even though his batting average is, 212 or somewhere in that range right now, he has still come up with key home runs and also key defensive plays.
Andrew's Physical Therapy at Blaine and Strawberry Plains. That's where I've gone to rehab my knee, my shoulder, my elbow. When rubbing a little dirt on it ain't enough.
Do you think the Game 3 needs a defensive play like a diving Tavares Tears or a back pick from Cal Stark?
It probably will. And you see that in close games. And these teams are very evenly matched. This is not like, Tennessee's way better than A&M. They should win. No, not necessarily. A&M's terrific. They're ranked number 3 in the country.
Yeah.
A&M's got a lot of hitters. I was looking this up, and it based on what I think will be their starting lineup tonight.
Yes.
The worst hitter is hitting 289. That's their worst hitter. So this is a very good hitting team. They do have power. We talked earlier about how they've got well over 130 home runs. It just pales in comparison to what Tennessee has. But that's still an impressive number. So this is an outstanding A&M team, and they've been really good all year. They've been even better at the end of the season and in postseason. And by the way, as a lot of people know, that was their first postseason loss to Tennessee. And I say postseason NCAA tournament. That was their first loss in the NCAA tournament was last night to Tennessee. They
Yes.
had undefeated up to that point. That's how good they are.
Yeah, their last loss came to Tennessee and Hoover.
Right, in the SEC tournament. That's correct. Yeah.
Yep. Talking to Aaron Combs leading up to this 3-game series and the national title series, I asked him, what gives this team so much confidence? And candidly, he said, when they're playing their brand of baseball, they can beat anybody. Do you think that is the number one key for today's game for Tennessee to go in and win a national championship?
It is. And the Tennessee's brand of baseball is very good pitching, and they can hit the long ball. And they're resilient. But I thought Combs was terrific yesterday, Paige. He came in after Drew Beam had another very solid start. He gave up the home run in the first inning. A&M did not score another run for the next 8. And a big reason for that was what Aaron Combs did coming out of the bullpen. I don't know this because I don't watch everybody. I can't imagine any pitcher having a better curveball than Combs. He has got a biting curve. It drops off the table. And even though you see it spinning, it's really hard to catch up to it. I thought he was magnificent, and he allowed Tennessee to stay in the game at key moments. And even though they only got one, Kirby Connell only faced one batter, then Nate Snead came in with 2 runners on, no outs, got it done in the 9th inning. That's kind of Tennessee baseball. One of the strengths, I can't say the strength, one of the strengths of this team has been their bullpen.
Yeah.
And that showed up in a great way last night against the Aggies.
What's your confidence level that Tennessee gets a game 3 and wins the program's first national title today?
On a 1 to 10 scale, I'm at about an 8.
Okay.
I believe in Zander Sechrist. I think he's going to have a quality start. I think there are a couple of bats that have not really exploded the last couple of games that we're going to see some more out of, including Kavaris Tears. So I think the point is they got so many people in their lineup, Tennessee does, that can beat you. And many of them can beat you with a long ball. So I think if Tennessee can get to 5 or 6 runs, that's enough. They got 4 last night. That was more than enough. But I think 5 or 6 runs will be good enough with Zander Sechrist on the mound. And then if he can get in 5 innings, maybe 6, a quality start, you turn it over to a outstanding bullpen. I like Tennessee's chances to beat A&M and deliver the first national championship in Tennessee baseball history and the first for a Tennessee program since 2009.
Yeah, Tennessee is just 9 innings away from winning its program's first national championship game. Zander Sechrist on the mound today for Tennessee. Jimmy, I appreciate your time, and hopefully when we meet back up on Tuesday, we've got some exciting news to talk about.
Paige, I appreciate it, and I know there'll be a lot of folks that'll be tuned into this. Not only those that are in Omaha, but those that'll be watching from Knoxville. A huge moment for Tennessee baseball, a huge moment for Tennessee sports.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Paige.